There's just been a lot of cleaning up going on through the body, you know, heaps
Yeah,
and heaps and heaps of just cleaning up. Yeah, just stuff that had to be done. So through that, plus the seeing, plus the intense situations, the emotions have been intense.
yeah. So a lot of that, what you call cleaning up, I, I kind of see it as integration, and I see
Yeah,
what we've got is the nervous system needs to catch up with what we know,
yeah.
and that can, some of the old conditioning kind of still creates nervous system responses to what we know. So it's like an integration, like the two things coming together in a way, in that sense.
Well, this integration's taking a while, Vince.
Yeah,
It
well, I
has
don't
gone
know.
through
Does
some
it? Does
shit.
it? Does it? I don't know that it ever actually ends.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a lot of that going on, and so and then I think there's been a lot. The last few weeks as well. There's just been a lot of moodiness. And I've never really noticed that I've been a moody person, and it's interesting watching that and seeing it, but not being able to do a damn thing about it. And I was like, this is what they mean. You know, you can be aware of it, but the suffering doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So there's been, yeah, lots of intensity.
Well, that to me is a really, really big one. That when we talk about suffering, this is a really weird one for me because I can only relate to suffering intellectually now. It just, yet what it's
I guess I'm using the wrong labels there, Vince. You know,
yeah.
when I say the suffering, I think I'm the same as you on that point. The suffering's the mental overlay on top of what's happening. I guess a better word for me is just to feel the intensity of what's going on and not being able to do a thing about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and well, there you go. That's so when you say not being able to do anything about it, if we want to do something about it, that's the resistance that actually creates the suffering.
Mm.
So the conditions themselves don't cause suffering. It's our resistance to those conditions that cause the suffering, not wanting them to be there, wanting them to be different, etc. So it's suffering is all second arrow stuff.
Mental. Mm.
Yeah. So that's when I said, I have trouble with this suffering now. It's like it's that that wanting it not to be there doesn't turn up simply because it is there. And the fact that it is there means it's already done and dusted.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about that. So there's no point in wishing it wasn't there. And it's that wishing it wasn't there where all the suffering comes from. Now, that doesn't mean that you recognize that you wish it wasn't there and you wish that you weren't wishing it wasn't there. That only doubles the suffering, doesn't it? But when you recognize that the wishing that it wasn't there is the germination of the suffering, it changes, just recognizing it. And again, there can be a lag. You can know it intellectually, but it takes a while for the body to catch up. But it will, definitely will.
I think it's this. It's just a different experience watching it and being aware of it rather than being identified with it.
Yes,
You know, so
yes,
that's the difference now. It's like,
absolutely. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Mm.
And that resistance to it is all very much to do with identification. It's a personal thing. It's happening to me. Yeah. So when there's no identification, that's the first big step of it changing, loosening up, not being personal anymore.
Yeah, it
Mm.
used to be, you know. oh my god, I'm feeling this or I'm feeling that, and now it's just watching it like, holy shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been yeah, just quite the journey.
Yeah. That's an understatement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then just
Yeah.
wondering whether I'm Arthur or Martha. You know,
Yeah.
like what is actually going on here?
Yeah.
um,
Well, turns out you're Arthur and Martha.
yeah, that's right.
Mm.
Oh dear.
Mm.
So I have another question for you, Vince. I don't know if I already
Cool.
proposed one, but here is something I thought of this morning that is it stumps me when you know you're it's what's said is that when you're keeping busy or you want to constantly do things, you're resisting a feeling. You're resisting what's happening now. And that is just very, very challenging for me to identify. What would I be resisting if I just don't want to sit here and do nothing? I think there's more to life than just doing that. But what am I resisting that prevents me from just doing nothing? But I don't want to just do nothing.
Yeah, okay. Well, a few things came up for me then, but I don't know if they relate to your question.
Go ahead.
To, put it in another way. Give me a more concrete example of.
Oh, okay, okay.
Uh,
So just a typical day. Let's see, it's the weekend, and I don't have a lot going on in my life. I have grandchildren, but I mean, let's be honest, I can't spend the whole day with them because I just don't have the energy for that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
lose
sure. Yeah,
I love them more than anything than in this world, but there's only a certain amount of time I could spend and do that kind of
yeah, they
man.
exhaust you. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And then other than that, I'm gonna say, pretty boring life. And um, hmm, I'm okay with it. I'm not a big social. I don't like to be around people too much. I don't like fluff talk. I don't like talk about politics. Like if we
yeah,
can
yeah.
talk about awakening, there I'd go. But I'm
Mm,
not just the kind to sit, socialize. I'm just not.
right. So when you
What
say a boring life, you're not
yeah.
saying that you get bored, are you? Or are you?
Um, I could find things to do.
Do
I
you
don't have a
do you do you experience do you have an experience that you will call being bored?
I don't know. I don't know if my body just automatically responds to it or my mind and just starts doing something or wanting or craving something. I don't I guess I can't see that
Hmm.
boredom taking manifesting as doing
Right.
something.
Yeah, yeah. So you are you saying then that you do experience yourself with how can I put it? Mm, a version of frantic activity?
No, not frantic. No, 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 no.
No.
No, I have no
Obsessive?
problems. Um, Pardon?
Obsessive?
No, I don't think
Compulsive? No, none
I
of
don't
that.
I don't no, no, no.
No.
Maybe
Okay.
watching Netflix when I get home from work because I'm tired.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's well, that seems perfectly reasonable. That's a good way to zonk out, isn't it?
Oh, it
Yeah,
is. Like I don't,
yeah.
yeah. Other than that, nothing that you mentioned, obsessive compulsive, no.
No. So is there some dissatisfaction somewhere with your life?
I could say that it feels kind of empty. It feels,
Okay. Now, all right. So this is a great entry for us, right? So the way I see things, what we need to do is investigate what's going on and looking at what is actually there. Right? And then when we do that, things come clear, and that's frequently when we'll have a shift into something. And when you say it's kind of empty, I'm guessing that you don't mean that you have a sensation that you would describe as empty. I'm guessing that you're saying this is a mental story you've got about lack of meaning, lack of purpose. Would it
Yeah,
something along those lines?
I would say meaning, yeah.
Meaning, right, right. Yes. So did you ever have meaning and you now don't have it?
Mm,
Or were
I
you
don't.
too busy to worry about meaning at one point?
Yeah, I think it's creeping in as I get older,
Mm, mm.
and the fear of death.
Really?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. The fear of
right.
not existing and not seeing my grandkids and stuff. Yeah.
Mm. So it's interesting that you say existence is kind of empty, but you've got a fear of ending that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I say to you, having meaning in life, how would you describe that? What would you call having meaning, purpose in life?
I don't know.
What did that question do to you? That took you somewhere, didn't it? What are you
Because I can't.
feeling right now in the body? What are you feeling right now?
Oh, the pressure and the heart, and
Can you put your hand on where it is?
I guess like here, yeah, just my heart. And lots of it gets heavy, gets tight.
Heavy, heavy heart. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's kind of significant, isn't it? Yeah. Tell me the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you, what would lighten your heart?
Whew, I have no idea.
So the first thing that came to mind was confusion or blank,
But nothing.
just a nothing. Yeah, right. This might sound like a weird question, but see what comes up. Does that heaviness come from the inside out or the outside in?
Inside.
Inside out. Yeah. Okay. So I'm getting this concept that you've got a lot of love bottled up and you just can't get it out. Got nowhere to
Probably.
direct it, maybe, except the grandkids. But yeah, otherwise it's a bit, yeah. Does that take you into sadness or pain or what comes up there?
Yeah. Yeah. I, I don't know. Yeah, I just don't understand
Yeah.
why I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable. How can you understand goings on of the heart? That's something to be felt, isn't it? Yeah. There's no point in rubbing your brow. You're never going to understand it.
No.
Mhm.
It's
But you
very
can feel
uncomfortable.
it. Can you
Yeah.
let yourself feel it? can you welcome the pain of it, the heaviness of it, the feeling?
Don't want to.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. It's not pleasant, is it? But
I feel like an idiot.
oh, well, we're all idiots then. Don't you worry about that one. Yeah. No, it's nothing idiotic about it at all. Boy, most of society is locked in this same cage that you're talking about here. It's, yeah, I feel sad when I think about how most people are caged up in the same way. It's,
And that's the
mm.
busyness, I guess,
Well,
honestly.
busyness is a way of avoiding this. And maybe that's what you were talking about earlier. Maybe this is what you were avoiding because it is heavy. It is not pleasant while we don't want it there. If we if we allow it, if we accept it, and it's not something we can't do accepting, we can't do allowing, it can only happen, then it changes. But while ever we don't want it there, does this sound familiar? Whatever we don't want it there, oh boy, that really makes it painful.
I don't think I've given it enough attention.
Yeah, well, that's
And
that's that's part of the deal, isn't it? That's right. It's amazing how many people can't feel because they have been away from their body for so long they don't even know how to get in touch with it.
I just
Yeah.
resonate when I hear it being said that you're avoidant or closed and it's hard to, I just resonate with that. And then that's it.
Mm,
Like I know
mm,
it's there. I know I
yeah.
have something stopping me,
Yeah.
but
So get this though. This is a really big deal. This is a big one. Knowing that it's something is all that's required. You don't need to know what it is. You don't need to know exactly what's going on. Just recognizing that something is there is a huge beginning to loosening it all up. And
okay,
what
because
it
I
is,
I don't want to go down that journey of my childhood and all that shit. I just don't want to have to. I just it's too much for me to to even unwind
yeah,
because I
yeah,
don't even
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Like I don't want to go down that stupid road.
Well, you don't have to, but it's interesting that you don't want to. But as I say, you don't have to go down
It
there.
just seems
You
meaningless.
know that that something probably comes from back then. It's probably something that you learnt, some belief you've got about yourself. But that's just intellectual, and that's all that's required. You don't need to know what it is. You don't need to find it and bring it to the surface and display it for anybody or yourself to see. You just need to recognize that there's something there that you're afraid to go near, and that a lot of what you're going to experience is a way of keeping you away from that. Now that's all just a story, but that's kind of explains what it is. But what you can do about it, not well, we just have to use language like this.
Oh, I'm already. Don't worry. I'm not even close to not having a understanding the doer thing. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What you can do is you can allow yourself to get a little bit closer to it each time you recognize that it's been triggered. And you will recognize it by the kind of behavior, whether that be thoughts or whether that be activity that turns up, that, and your intuition will tell you that that's turned up as a way of avoiding this stuff, whatever it is.
Oh
That's
boy.
all. Now, here's an interesting one, and this is part of the technique for you to use to change that stuff. And that is, firstly, to recognize that an emotion is a sensation with stories attached to it.
Okay.
Right? Now, the sensation alone has no information inherent in it. The
Yes.
sensation alone is just a sensation. It's the
Yeah.
stories that come along with it that give it meaning,
Yes. I
right?
understand that.
And and if you get that, then what you can do is you can immediately just start to look for the sensation. So whenever you get triggered into some response, thinking or activity
Like
that
wanting to
you're
have a drink, let's say.
wanting to have
I'm
what?
happy have a drink.
Yep, have a drink. That's a good one. Yeah. Just getting busy or having a fantasy, right? That has come as a result of an uncomfortable feeling that you almost miss.
I do.
You
I
only
can't feel I have no idea what that feeling is.
Right, that's right. Yeah, but you know when it comes from that feeling. You know, your intuition will tell you that this activity is a distraction from that. And when you have that recognition, what you do is you say to yourself, what am I feeling? Oh, I'm feeling something. Yeah, it doesn't have to be clear, just something will do. And you can go, right, where's that feeling? And then you can go, the labels of in the chest, heavy heart, that kind of label tells you where to focus. And what you do then is you go looking for what is the experience of the sensation. Now, if you can describe it even to yourself mentally, you're only at a surface level. What you're looking to do is experience it at a much deeper level than can be described. And the analogy that I would use would be like if you were trying to convey what chocolate tastes like to somebody who's never tasted chocolate, it's that kind of impossibility. When you can get down to that level of what is the sensation, where is it, what's it doing, that kind of stuff, then what you're doing is allowing that something closer to the surface, and that will loosen it. Now, you're allowed to say you're full of shit, Vince, if you want, whatever
No,
comes
no,
up for
no.
you. Yeah.
The only thing that comes up and is finding that sensation.
Yeah, yep,
Is
yep. Okay, so don't worry about that. Don't
okay.
worry. It's not something you succeed or fail at. It's something that will happen or not, and you'll get
Oh,
better and better at it with practice. So
okay.
the first thing is to recognize, and you do already. You've told me that you recognize that certain behaviors, certain activities, certain mental processes, whatever. I don't remember what you said, but you recognize that there are an avoidance, right? So that's
Yeah.
all. Whatever the flavor of that is, that's what you're looking for. And when you get that, what you then go is, what am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? Right? And then you just grab the first thing that comes to mind. Oh, okay, I'm feeling a heaviness in my heart. Oh, okay, that's here and it's heavy, right? So that's the superficial description of it. What's the actual experience? Oh, okay. And you'll get to where, you can't even say it's here or here or here or here or here or here. It's just there. And it feels like just this. You can't, you can't describe it when you get
It's
into
always
that.
there.
Sorry.
It's always there.
Right. That's
I
interesting.
really
Yes.
don't know what it would be like without it.
Mm.
So I don't know. That's why I think there's nothing there because it's always
Yes.
like I've always been like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Okay.
think it's hard
Well,
to
but
find a difference from it unless
so
when it gets to be intense.
do you get the bigness of recognizing that it's always there? That's huge. That's a recognition.
It
That's a
just feels
beginning. That's an invitation. That's an opportunity.
oh,
Right? Now, what we need to do is wait for an invitation to get closer to it.
and how's that invitation going to happen?
Well,
Because
that's
I'm
that's
certainly not gonna
that,
I'm not gonna initiate it. I know my pattern of no, it's not gonna do anything.
exactly. That's your invitation. When that pattern gets kicked in, when it gets triggered, that avoidance pattern
Yeah.
is your opportunity. Now they'll be subtle in the beginning because you're not practiced at this, but
No.
you'll get
Well,
better and better at it.
I've tried very, very many times knowing that there's something sitting on me that's been there forever, like since I can remember.
Yeah.
And
Now
then,
hear that what you said. Something sitting on you. Oh boy, there's a great description, isn't there? Isn't it? It's a metaphor, but it's a brilliant description of you being held down. Yeah. So your own words. That's where the invitation comes from. And those words could be just in the form of a thought if you're by yourself, but they're your opening. They're letting you know. They're telling you. You're telling yourself without knowing that you're telling yourself.
oh wow.
But now we're not looking for final success. We're not looking to fix anything. We're not looking for an outcome. What we're looking to do is learn a skill. And that skill will do you in good stead for the rest of your life. And in the beginning, you'll struggle to learn it. And then when you first learn it, it'll be as you'll be as busy as hell with it. And then after a while, it'll thin out and you'll get to the point where it'll be very occasional that you'll need to use it. But in the beginning, yeah. Now, of course, nature and your training is going to say, I'm successful or I failed.
Yeah.
But that's all bullshit. It's irrelevant. Each time that you have a go at it, you'll get better at it. And that having a go at it isn't something you do, it's something that will happen or not. And the fact that you're here and the words that you've said show me that you're open to it. You're willing and open. You've got the invitation book out big time.
No. Okay. It's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's great. That's good. If it was comfortable, you wouldn't there'd be no point in being here, would there? You can describe that as being brave, that you can be with that discomfort.
Oh, it feels more like being a suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
All I can say is I'll give it my best. I don't know if I believe that though.
Well, let me say this. No matter how much effort you put in, you can't give it your worst. Of
Very
course, you're going
true.
to give it your best. That's all you can do. But don't put a lot of effort into trying to do it. The this conversation, these words, this experience that you've had will have an effect or not. Well, it will certainly have an effect, but how big an effect? That's what we're interested in. But it doesn't matter. Where patience is brilliant. And you know what? I've been doing this for a couple of years, and I never feel like I'm repeating myself. Never. I'm happy to do this again and again and again in whatever way it turns up, and it's all original. It's all unique. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, I could feel a fraction of your love. A pinhole.
You feel it. You've just got it locked up in there. That's all. Yeah. I feel that you feel it, and I know it's my imagination, but well, I'm a bit in touch, so you're a big-hearted. You've got a lot of love. I know you have. You just need to give some of it to yourself. Yeah.
Is this being recorded? I mean, is this available after somewhere?
This recording, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Tonight's recorded, yeah.
where would I find it?
Um, I it'll. Yeah, have you subscribed to my Substack stuff?
Um, yeah, I'm on Substack and I subscribe to you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you'll get a notification of it
Okay, is
later.
that
Yeah.
now? Is there a premium for your Substack to in order to get
No,
stuff? I
no,
didn't know
no.
if there was for that.
People can pay premium if they like, but they don't get anything extra these days. It's all the
Oh, okay,
same, free or otherwise. Yeah.
definitely pay it to get these recordings.
No, no, you don't have to pay it to get the recording. So there's only the two evening ones that are recorded that are published publicly, and the two morning ones are not. They're available to attendees only by request. But
Okay,
tonight's one goes on YouTube. Yeah, but I won't post it till tomorrow because it'll be close to midnight when I finish tonight.
yeah. Come on, Vin, stay up and do it. I'm just joking. I just I just want to throw in there when I asked for the recording, um, there was the thought that came in was so you can see what an idiot you're such an idiot you are.
No, 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 don't. Yeah, I mean, of course that turns up for sometimes, but look, what you watching yourself on the recording is incredibly valuable. You will hear yourself say things that you didn't know you were saying when you actually said them.
Yeah.
Just watching yourself on the video is really good value. You don't worry about being self-conscious, just watch yourself, listen to the words that come out of your own mouth, and you'll be telling yourself stuff that you didn't realize you were telling yourself.
Okay.
Amazing. Yeah.
And and I know there's when I do watch it, there's going to be a lot of judgment towards myself. Like I
Sure, yeah,
said, just
yep, yep. And it's not a case of saying, well, I don't want to judge or I shouldn't judge. It's if judgment happens, then you go, oh, okay, that's interesting. Hmm. And you just look at what it is, you
more
objective.
information as
Yeah,
well, right?
yeah. And this thing of being an idiot, that's a weird story that I can't quite, I kind of know, I do know, I know, in my head what you mean by being an idiot, but it's a joke, you can't be an idiot, you know, not when you're being
Mm.
authentic and spontaneous like this.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not possible. Yeah.
No.
But you can
It's
feel like an idiot. That's for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, and that's okay. That's another indication of you being identified with a story about who Jenny is and how she should be and all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a good opportunity again when you see that. When you feel self-conscious, that's telling you something that's really valuable.
Wow.
Yeah.
That felt good, I'm gonna say. That felt really good to let go of.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Thank
when you
you.
let go of that stuff, boy, you can see stuff that's deeper. You know, that was a kind of a screen that you filtered your view through, and having let go of that, even if it's only for a moment, you can see way deeper. Yeah. It's like putting polarized glasses on and you can see into the water. Yeah.
It was nice for you to acknowledge that or acknowledge, confirm that that's what is has been there for so long. I like
Yeah.
finally understanding it, understanding me more
Yeah.
and how I
Yeah.
push love
Yeah.
away so much. I have a really hard time letting it in.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Good one. Yeah.
my ex-partner were roommates and he's such a wonderful person. And I'm like, how can you not make this work? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? He's so wonderful. And I can't,
Mm,
I didn't want to do this again. Sorry. It's okay.
that's all right. It's good stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, there's a lot.
Farewell.
There's a lot in that one, and one of them I did some stories about just today, and a song about comparison. We compare ourselves to other people and change our expectations about how we should be and so on. Yeah, really interesting stuff. So, his wonderfulness highlights a lack that you feel. Now, none
Yeah.
of it's real except what you experience. That's real. But what it's based on isn't real. That's just the story. So, yeah, there's a lot of discovery. And you had a shift. You had a little shift a moment ago with that acknowledgement that you gave yourself that you can see yourself differently. That's good stuff. So what's your mind saying? No, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Mm.
I'll see it when I believe it.
Yeah. Or believe it when you see it.
Yeah, that's
See
what
it
I
when you
meant.
believe it. Yeah. I'll see it when I believe it is good too. Yeah.
I find it hard. You had a video, a YouTube meeting that was, I think, the kept the love. It was called Love Something. There was the word love in it, and I couldn't watch it.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Look, I was talking to somebody this morning at a meeting that a person, a one-on-one, and I got the message for the first time that I said, "Have you been listening to some of the songs I've been doing? Because some of the ones were really relevant to what he was talking about." And he said, I can't listen to them. If I listen to them, I just fall apart. I just can't do it. I don't listen to them for that reason. And here I am trying my hardest to make them more relevant. And they're too relevant for him. They were, yeah.
Yeah.
So, wow. Yeah.
Well, that's another a way for me to maintain this is I can have a one-on-one with you,
Yeah, sure.
and that would be very, I think, caring for myself.
Mm,
instead of worrying about money constantly and survival.
sure, we can do that. So you just email me and we'll sort something out. Mm. You're looking quite bored, Suzanne, but I'm imagining that's not how you're actually feeling.
No, I'm not bored. I can totally resonate to Jenny. Totally.
That's nice.
Um, I Yesterday I thought about what is the main fear under all my fears, and I came to the conclusion it's fear of death, fear of future, and um, I worked during you were talking, and I thought for myself under down, down under all of this, there is this deep down loneliness
Mm,
that nothing and nobody can fill.
absolutely.
There's
Yeah.
I can't imagine anything what can feel this loneliness, and
Hmm.
this is sometimes so hard. And I had the same situation, like only like working. I have no grandchildren, but working and feeling nothing with anything. And now I also don't work because of my situation. I was totally exhausted. Um, but now I feel all the fear.
Mm,
It's, yeah, it's heavy.
yeah, it's a big one, isn't it?
But it's not that I'm all the time in fear. I wake up every morning with fear of yeah of future, like thinking about you. You have to you have to come to something you can do about your situation. You have to think about that. You have to find a solution, and I can't find a solution. And
Mm.
so I started to go into always. I start to go into the body, and yeah, sometimes it took hours, but it works.
So when you say it works, you're saying that going into the body, you can not feel the fear. You can go, the fear
I can
changes.
forget. Yeah, I can forget it. So like I can feel the sensations, um, but there's there's not the story behind. It's only the sensations, and
Mm,
this gives me a starting point to breathe and to just finding a gap in all the circling thoughts.
yes. Yep, yep, yep.
Um, and it's not every day that I'm so fearful, but some days uh, mornings are really heavy. Um,
Yep,
Yesterday I
yep.
had a really good day, and yeah I was
So are you seeing that going into the body and getting close to the sensations is a way of fixing, a way of changing the discomfort that you're calling fear?
yes
Yeah,
definitely
right.
yeah.
Okay, so what if I say to you, that's great. That's the first step. The next step is to go further.
Means
Yes. So when the thing is that what seems to be happening is that your experience changes because of what you're doing with the sensations. And you're saying, well, that's it. It's done its job, and you stop. And I'm saying to you, it's a premature stop. What you've set up is a pattern that you will have to do forever and ever, and it will get weaker and weaker over time. So it'll stop working if you keep doing it for a long, long time, because it's bypassing what's actually going on. So what's actually going on, you're getting to the doorway of, but you're not going through the doorway. You're stopping just before what's actually going on. And so you're alleviating the fear that comes from the dread of the loneliness, but you're not examining the loneliness. You're not getting into what is loneliness. How do you experience it? You have already a little bit. You already know that it can't be filled by anything or anybody, because that's not what loneliness is. We describe it as an emptiness, but it's not actually an emptiness. It's something else. And you're just not discovering what that something else is because you're stopping when the fear goes away.
So what do you recommend?
Further.
Further sitting
further.
and further
Yeah.
sitting and feeling.
Well, let's put it another way. Let's describe it like this. This of course is just the way I'm seeing things. So we must make allowances for your actual experience. But the fear was intended to stop you from feeling something bad, something that was going to be much worse, right? So the fear wasn't pleasant, but it was way better than what might turn up if the fear wasn't there. And that you've already recognized is the loneliness, what you described as the emptiness. But that's just a description, right? That does that resonate with you? Does it seem like that is what it is that's beyond the fear, that the fear was keeping you away from originally?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So maybe we don't know. See, and it doesn't matter. But yeah, that think so is good enough for you to investigate that further. So the next time you do that and the fear goes away, instead of stopping and being happy with the fact that the fear isn't there anymore, you go, now I'm at the doorway of what the fear was protecting me from. And you ask yourself, not not for an explanation of what that is, but just acknowledgement that it is something. And that something might have the flavor of loneliness, emptiness, and that could be empty of purpose or meaning rather than,
Yes, of course.
yeah, or it could be that you have an idea somewhere that you need a certain kind of companionship to fill it. Well, you know that's not going to fill it in a sense, because that can only be what it can be. You know, what you bring to that is really there, not what anybody else can provide. Nobody can fill your hole, but it's probably not an actual hole. So when you get to investigate that experience, so you allow the experience and whatever flavor it turns up in, and it could turn up as loneliness, right? You allow it to show itself so that you can investigate the details of what it is more so. And so just know that when the fear goes, and the fact that the fear is going, that your skill at using focus on the sensations to get beyond the fear is already brilliant. You've already done 3/4 of the job to get to what is underneath it. But you now just need to keep going when you get there rather than stop being and be satisfied that the fear isn't there anymore. Because I'll guarantee, I mean, I imagine strongly is what I'm really saying, that even though the fear's gone, there's still not a great feeling of satisfaction, not a feeling of contentment. Would that be accurate?
Sometimes there's a feeling of contentment,
Yeah,
small one,
okay.
like, but yeah, most days when the fear was really heavy, it's more like getting over the day. But yeah, I wonder, don't you think that is the root of the fear, this deep loneliness? I can't imagine what can there be deeper
No, of
than that.
course you can't imagine. You can't imagine. That's the whole reason why the fear is there. Because if you knew what it was, you wouldn't have the fear. The irony of this kind of stuff is that the fear keeps you away from the feeling of something really big, catastrophic, even. But the reality is always that when we get to face what the fear was keeping us away from, it's never a big deal like that. It almost always is something from before, something we learned when we were young that we've been carrying all our life that turns out to be a belief about ourself.
But I think this is my this fear of loneliness is from my earliest childhood.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, because I know that my mother just feeded me when I was a baby, like with the clock. When I was crying, nobody came.
Mm,
So, and also, yeah, I remember a situation where my parents were fighting, and we had a sleeping room together in these days, and I was crying, and nobody came
mm,
to soothe me. So I
yep,
was alone in all this pain and
right.
fear.
So do you in this memory, if you like, let's call it a memory of you crying and nobody coming, did you get to the point where you stopped crying and you just withdrew into yourself?
No, 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 no. I just only feel I remember the situation and I remember my pain, but I don't remember, yeah, when it stopped.
So how did it end? You just kept crying and crying and crying and crying and crying. Eventually, you must be exhausted with the crying.
Of course, but I have no picture from
Yes.
no.
So I, I can only imagine that a baby will cry up to a point, and then when the realization that nobody is going to come dawns on that baby, then there becomes a dissociation
Yes,
that happens.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I know dissociation in my life a lot.
Yes. Yep. And you bring that with you into adulthood.
Yes.
Yeah. Has it ever occurred to you that the reason that nobody came was because they had their own shit to deal with?
Of course, but it
Of
doesn't
course.
help me. It
No.
doesn't help
Okay.
me to know that my parents had their own traumatic childhood.
Right. Yep. Does it help you to recognize, if you do, that at some point the child will blame himself, herself, for the
No,
situation,
no.
right? And so what happens then is that the child feels guilty, and guilt
Yes.
is very, very hard to cope with. So how do we cope with guilt? We turn it into shame.
Yeah, I have a lot of shame
Yeah,
too.
shame is a lot easier to cope with than guilt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot
But
of not lovable, like from
yes.
these situations. Nobody
Hmm.
came, you are not lovable.
Yes, that's right. It's part of so you identify with that. You're not a lovable
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
Yes. I can
And then
see that, but it doesn't help.
you're only seeing it at an intellectual level.
It's
To 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 experience it at a deeper level is what the fear is really about. Can you let's have a fantasy. Have a fantasy with me. What would happen to Suzanne if she were to feel that fully? How would she respond in this fantasy?
a lot of crying, probably. I don't know.
Yeah. So even so you even put that crying in you paint an intellectual picture. You
Yeah.
just talk about a lot of crying. Right? You don't feel that crying at all, do you? Maybe deep
No.
down you feel a little bit, just you're not going to let it
Yeah,
come up,
I
eh?
feel a little bit, a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. But you're a strong person, stoic.
Yes, I am.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. And strong stoic people don't cry. They don't become a blubbering mess.
Yeah, this feel crying is always has always felt weak. I don't want it
Yes,
to be weak.
weak, yes, and you can't be weak. Yes.
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
Right.
I don't want to feel helpless. Helplessness is something I
Yes,
really can
of
stand.
course. Yeah.
And now I feel helpless
Yes.
in all these fears.
But
Crazy.
but even that you keep at an intellectual level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the moment I keep it intellectual, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I cried a lot. I cried a lot these days, really, and not only tears, like really cry.
Yes, sobbing. Yes. Yeah. How did that feel? When your mind stopped telling you you were weak, was there another feeling underneath that?
Yeah, there's a release on level of the body,
Hmm.
but
But we
I
buttoned it
don't
back
know.
up afterwards.
A backup? What
You
kind of?
buttoned it up. I mean, you locked it back up afterwards. You said that you felt some release, but it didn't
Yes.
last. Can you still remember what that release felt like? Felt like? What was the
Like the
feeling in the body? Can you?
Yeah, it felt like the body was relaxed,
Hmm.
relaxed, but also exhausted.
Yeah, sure, sure. Was there was there some sweetness in that exhaustion?
I felt actually I felt some sweetness in the tears. Yeah,
Yes.
in the
Okay.
sadness.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not like when I'm sitting here and crying that I feel weak in this moment. I more feel weak when I think about things, but
Yes. Afterwards, yeah.
um, yeah.
Yeah. So if I say the word vulnerable, how does that? How do you? What level of weakness would you put on being vulnerable?
Oh, um, yeah. Mm,
That
yeah.
got
I
something
think
going, didn't it? Yeah.
yeah, I think there's my mind's saying one and my, I don't know, heart or whatever
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
says
Yep.
another, says another thing
Yeah.
but yeah, because I know that it would be it it's getting it makes more contact to other people and also to myself to be vulnerable, um, and open and authentic in a way. Um, and yes, I can be vulnerable to some people and near people, but
Yep.
not in normal life.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I like that you said the word authentic. Do you recognize that authenticity is really you being honest with yourself, not about having to express it to anyone else, but just being honest with yourself about what's really going on. That's what authentic is. Do you get that?
Yeah,
And
for
I
me
think
it was
I
also
think you
like,
are authentic.
yeah, I'm authentic. That, yeah, to myself, I just want to know the truth. Yes, so I'm authentic to myself. And to me, authenticity is also something I think it would be good to go with it in the outside.
Mm, mm,
But yeah, yeah, a friend, which her I have a lot of contact in these days. And she said different times to me, she acknowledged that I'm so open and honest. Honesty was a word, like
hmm
uh, honest about how I feel. Um, yeah, and I thought for myself, yeah, honesty is what is always something what is really important to me.
mm. Yeah, that's great. That's a big one. Mm.
Yeah,
So I'm getting having this story here. I'm getting this feeling that you're very close to allowing a happening that we can call allowing all of this stuff to settle in an appropriate way. Right? You know all of this stuff. You know about it here, and you know about a lot of it here, but the two haven't kind of joined up properly yet. That's all.
yeah. I spent my time with hearing YouTubes, like reading books, and sometimes I think I have too much information in my head, and I don't
Yes.
know. Sometimes I think I have to regulate my nervous system so I can, yeah, because of my traumatic things, and sometimes I think I only have to be in the now, like non-duality. Sometimes I think I have to do a lot of compassion to myself. This is the way, and sometimes I think I only have to meditate, and sometimes I get confused with all of the possibilities of healing and information, and what to do first and second, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So what if I said you've got all of the information that you require already,
I
right?
think so. Yeah,
And you don't need to sort through it and pick any of it to do because you can't do anyway. That's just really an illusion that you can choose to do something. So whatever turns up that comes to mind for you to do comes from an impulse way before the mind says that this is what I could do. And and that's appropriate, right? So really all you need to do, not do at the moment, is to just be still and allow it to filter down into the right places, and you will respond. So there's no choices to be made. There's no decisions to be made. There's no intention to be found. That's all there. That's already in place. All of that stuff at another level, at a brain level, if you like, or a subconscious level. That's already there. Right? You don't need to learn anything new. All you need to
no,
do is allow what you already know to have an effect. And to do that, you don't even need to do the chase away the fear, get into the sensations thing. All you need to do is relax. Now, how do you do that? How do you make yourself relax? Well, you can't, can you?
yeah. This was in my head was, but I need to do something.
Yes, yes, of course. That we're all trained to that. And that's part of being stoic, like I have to have control. Well, of course, you don't give up control when you recognize that you never had control. So the idea that anything has happened because you've controlled it is an illusion. Things happen because they happen. Things happen because of all of the conditions involved in them happening are all present. And that's why they happen. And only a few of those conditions you can even have anything to do with. The rest of them are outside of your control. Right? But you've got all of that. It's all there. You've got a full toolbox. You don't need to get anything new. You don't listen to me. Don't go onto YouTube. Don't read anything more. That's all just a way of avoiding what's already there. You don't have to be a different person. You are already the person. But what you say is you want to have a different experience in normal life. And you will simply by allowing that to happen. You don't have to worry about how
Yeah,
or what.
I had experiences when I could see that, I could feel that what you were saying. But on the other side, there is this part in me that is really like, to use a picture, feels like a drowning person and wanting something to grab on to not
Yes?
going under. Yeah,
Hmm.
to it's like jumping from one person to the other. There's a spiritual side which sometimes there's love and there's authenticity and there's like knowing to relax and you can nothing do. And then there's the other part,
Yeah.
which is which wants to do something, which is saying, "You are so old now. Nothing changes. You read so many books since you were 15. Nothing helped. You didn't get anything. You're still like a broken piece."
Yeah.
So, and one is fighting with one part is fighting with the other part
Yeah.
for dominance.
So how can you recognize that one part of you is a story that is not the way you really are? It's just a story, and you respond to that story, and you have a certain experience as a result of responding to that story. So this brings us back to some thoughts are useful and a lot of thoughts are not. A lot of thoughts cause problems. How do we recognize when a thought is useful, or when a stream of thoughts are useful, and when they're not? And there's a very easy way to do that will happen or not, and that is, if the story is about you, it's not worth listening to. If it's
Okay.
personal is a better way to put it. If it's personal,
But isn't any thought about me in a way?
well, I'm imagining something like, if you're planning something, right? It could be seen as personal, but it's not actually personal, is it? It's more objective, right? So I need to go to the dentist, right? And you put that in your calendar, right?
Mm.
That's just an objective. It could be taken as personal, but it's not actually personal, is it? But a judgment about you is very personal. An opinion about
Yeah.
you, yeah. And they're the ones that you don't need to listen to.
Mm. Yeah.
We can't stop them from happening. They're going to happen, and they happen because of habit, amongst other things. But they will thin out. You'll get less and less of them when you don't pay attention to them, or when the only attention you pay to them is, oh, that's one I don't need to listen to. And at a crude level, you could say it's bullshit. It's total bullshit. This story about how I should be or how I think I am. And that was a pretty personal story, so you can dismiss that one too. What we're looking for, so even that's a stupid thing to say, but I don't know how better to say it. What we want to happen is for your experience to change in subtle ways in the beginning, more subtle ways, but for your experience to become, so I can't even say more pleasant, but for your experience to not include suffering, that's a better way to say it.
Like the Buddhists said.
Yes. Desire.
Life is suffering.
Did the Buddha say that?
No, it was something different from the Buddhist from Buddha. I wanted to say it's like life is yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That isn't it?
Well, I would say it's resistance to life that is suffering.
Yeah,
Life,
resistance. I have a
life,
lot of resistance.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't get rid of the resistance by resisting the resistance. But you will get rid of it when you recognize that it's there. But of course, resistance comes in many forms. And it's always going to be about wanting things to be different. So if we want things to be different because we're having an unpleasant experience, that's perfectly reasonable to want things to be different. But it's the idea of making them be different that actually makes them stronger, makes them stay. That's where the resistance comes from. So that we can accept the fact that we want it to be different, but we don't have to do anything about that. We don't have to make it be different. It's just this idea turned up that we want it to be different. And if we allow that to exist, if it's there, but put it in the background, not have it at the foreground, then it doesn't have the effect of creating resistance. We accept it. It's just a story that we want it to be different. But we recognize that not resisting it is what will allow it to change. But when we try and make it different, push it, pull it, manipulate it, whatever we do to make it different, that just makes it stronger.
It's always the same, like not doing and accepting.
Yeah. Yeah. And how can that happen? That we don't find ourselves doing. See, the thing is, not doing and accepting aren't actually things. You can't do those things because they're really only the absence of the opposite. So if there's no doing, you can describe it as not doing, but there's nothing to describe. There's just no doing. So accepting isn't a thing either. What it is the absence of not accepting. Not accepting, that's a thing. And if not accepting is not there, there's nothing there, which we will describe as accepting. Now,
This is
that's
confusing.
not quite true. Yeah. It's a tricky one. It's a lot of things are like that. The things that that our language tells us are a thing are actually not a thing, but the absence of its opposite.
I have to think about that.
Yes. So trust is another good one to using that as an example. Right? Trust is not a thing. It's the absence of mistrust. Mistrust is definitely a thing. You can experience mistrust, but if you trust, there's nothing there. There's just no mistrust. This is not strictly true. Both of these things, because you can have, when there is no mistrust, there will be an experience of sensations that you could call trust, but they're not. It's not actually trust. It's something else. But besides, we're getting pedantic here. But if you just see it as the lack of resistance is acceptance. So you can't do acceptance. It's there or it's not there. If it's there, you don't even know it's there because it's just happening. Only afterwards, when you look back and describe the situation, you could say, oh, I was accepting.
Vince, could you give like a really basic example of something like that?
Oh, okay. Well, what comes to mind is one somebody told me about having a fear of being bitten by a dog, by dogs in general. All dogs, this person had a fear of being bitten. And when things changed and there was no longer a fear of being bitten, there was no thoughts about being bitten. There was no recognition that there was no fear of being bitten. It was just a non-issue.
Okay. I see that when
So,
it's applied to something physical, like an action, that's easier to grok as you use. But I think where I'm certainly struggling and staring up at the sky trying to figure that one out is when it comes to feelings.
mm. All right. So let's look for an example with feeling. Okay.
Like frustration. That's a big one for me, is a frustrated person.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you have frustration, there is definitely sensations in the body, contraction of sorts, depending on how you're feeling it. Your blood pressure is going to go up, and you experience that by being, however active you are. Your voice might change. Whatever the frustration can cause, hyperactivity kind of thing, eh?
Yeah.
When
I get
when
it's there so
right,
much, it feels normal.
yeah. And now let's take another time of the day when you're not feeling any frustration.
Right?
Do you think about frustration being
No.
not there? No, it's not
Oh
even
no,
an,
I don't think about it being not there.
no, you
I
don't
don't
think about it at all. Yeah, it's a non-issue.
You're right.
It's
However,
only
so you just brought up a really good maybe experiment, is that when it's not being felt, like let's say like the day's just going and yay, it's good,
yeah,
nothing's going
yeah.
wrong. Now, would that be an opportunity to recognize, wow, I'm not feeling frustrated? Or is that just mind gaming? Mind.
I don't know. It's an interesting one because I think the moment you let's say the thought turns up, I'm not frustrated. In order to have that thought, you will generate some frustration. to experience the absence of it.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know. Would you?
I
It would be an interesting experiment.
I will try it today.
So if I'm thinking now, what am I feeling like? Like, okay, I'm sitting down, so I'm not standing up. What do? I imagine myself standing up and the muscles in my legs move.
Oh, that's just the subtle image will do that, cause it.
Yeah, just an image of that almost creates the actual experience.
Right. Oh,
So you can't. Not something is the same as something in that way. It's a version of. Let's say it's not exactly the same, of course, but it's a version of it. So this is a big one in a lot of things. Let's say somebody's got a really low self-esteem, right? We think that the fix to that is to give them some self-esteem, but
mm,
it's not. I have experienced that with people on a couple of occasions where we've gone from low self-esteem to them being absolutely arrogant. Oh, it was terrible. What a bad, like, yeah. So really the fix to low self-esteem is for it to be a non-issue, not to have a high self-esteem. I mean, Trump's got a high
so
self-esteem. That's because he's got a low self-esteem.
right,
Yeah,
right.
it's kind of crazy, isn't it?
So as to see through the beliefs that are creating the story that we have low self-esteem.
Yes. And when we get there, it's a non-issue. We don't even think about esteem at all.
Okay.
It seems to me that pretty much like everything that you learn in life works like that, or maybe also unlearn, because I mean, in the beginning, you think a lot about it, but once you know how to ride the bicycle, you will never think
You
about
don't
this.
think about it anymore. You just do it. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it won't be necessary to think, I'm riding the bicycle now
Yes, that's
anymore.
right. Yeah, you don't. You wouldn't.
Well,
Well, you in the beginning when you first learn that might happen, but very quickly it fades out. Yeah.
Or, for example, I remember I used to be very anxious socially. And for example, even I could not possibly sit in a cafe alone because I would think like everybody's looking at me and it's weird to go like maybe I'm a petty guy going to the cafe alone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it would only work if I had a cigarette or a drink or something.
Yes, yeah. How
And
common is that? Wow, yeah.
yeah, and then nowadays it's like it's so obvious that nobody cares if I sit there or not. I mean, they
Yeah.
certainly won't like talk about me afterwards. Like, did you see that weird guy who was sitting there
yeah,
alone or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
yeah.
So it just fell away. But I think it also have maybe it might have to do with like I was unemployed for like 1.5 years after my studies. And then like the official in charge of me said to me like, yeah, come on, you have to do something. Don't you want to be a German teacher? So I did this training as a German teacher, and after 1.5 years, like being socially anxious, it was like very uncomfortable because it was like a training every day, like in front of a class, and then people would give you feedback, and it would be like, even, yeah, but your body language wasn't proper or something. And I remember the first days, it really felt like, oh my God, I can't do that because it felt so
Yeah.
horrible. And then, like, I don't know, eventually it was like, I
Normal.
mean, I worked as a German teacher for 10 years and I didn't even prepare my lessons anymore. It just happened. I didn't think about it. I didn't, for example, when I did a mistake, it would not feel like, oh my God, I did a mistake in front of a group or something. So I think everybody knows this more or less from his job, that in the beginning maybe you felt like thinking about it a
Yeah.
lot, then somehow it's like super automatic. And
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, 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 yes.
so,
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's very clear, but in a way, this accepting or not accepting is like a bit similar to this feeling of everybody looking at me when I sit in the cafe,
Yeah.
because actually, I mean, what we all do is like, this is happening to me, when in
Yes.
reality, like, things are just happening. They're not happening to anybody. So,
Yes. Yes. Well, that's what I
um,
was saying to Suzanne earlier. It's happening to me. That's personal, and
yeah, it's not
that's a
like the
good
whole universe
warning. Yeah.
decided that it's going to
Yeah.
do that, especially to you.
Yeah. So
So,
these days, I imagine that you go into a cafe and you don't think nobody's looking at me. You don't even think about it at all.
no, I don't.
Doesn't even occur to you. Yeah.
I definitely can relate that now to something in life where I was worked for in the grocery business for so many years, and we have to here in Canada remember codes on products to put it in the system, the POS system, right? And all the people I've hired and trained over my years, you could see the anxiety and all the worry build up. It's like, oh my God, I have to remember all these codes. I'm like, calm down. Don't do that to yourself because it's going to make it worse for you. It will come. I
Mm.
promise you. And it does. It's just muscle memory. You look
Yeah.
at something
Yeah.
and the fingers just go, right? So
Yeah.
that's exactly what you're telling me, but in the concept that I asked about the frustration feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll just kind of, I won't even recognize that it's gone. It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
happening. I'm not frustrated.
And on this so-called path, you will end up that way about yourself.
That I'm gone.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Well, it's not that you're gone. It's just that you're no longer here.
Nice.
You know what I mean? You get that?
Well,
It's like
I hope I do one day.
you will for sure. Yeah. It's, and yet, with those codes, you can tell yourself a story about needing to remember that particular one
Yeah.
or whatever. Even if it's not a new one, you can go, oh, that's important. Uh,
Yes.
And that's the same thing with the ideas of yourself, the ideas about yourself. And so when I say to somebody, there's no one here, they think I'm crazy. They just can't get it. But it's the same thing. It becomes a non-event. I can describe myself as being here. I can tell you my name and I can tell you what my body's doing and I can make it sound like it's me doing it. But it's clear as day to me that that's just a story I've added to what's actually happening. And you will get to the same thing where there's no Jenny, there's no Suzanne there. There's nobody to feel these things. The feelings happen, but they're not happening to you. They're just happening. And that's a different relationship. There's nothing to resist.
I'll still love my grandchildren the way I do.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. You'll love them more than ever because you won't be self-conscious about expressing things. Yeah.
Wow. I won't worry about how they're going to turn out because the way life is,
Well,
and
no, absolutely not. Yeah,
not that like they're going to be. I just worry about them because
sure.
I already that you see them growing up and circumstances and how they
Yeah,
behave and the way the world, all the material
yeah,
things, and
yeah. Look, I've got a third, no, it's 13. Wow. No, he's actually 16, nearly 17, right? Grandson, 17-year-old grandson. And I've got and another grandson who's 28 and a granddaughter who's 26. But this one, so my daughter had one fairly late in life and he's only nearly 17. And I'm thinking from time to time I get, oh, that poor bugger, what's the world going to be like when he's grown up, Like it's like, but yet he's already nearly grown up. He's just going for his license now, he's at that age. He's still young enough to think he knows everything. Anyway, I can tell a story about, what kind of world is happening right now, all of the with climate change and all the wars that are going on and all of the shit that's happening. Poor bugger. But at the same time as I can tell that story, I recognize it as it's my imagination, it's a story. And I can also see that I can't do anything about it. And what is it that I can't do anything about? What I imagine will be the situation. Well, why would I get upset about feeling helpless about what I imagine? That doesn't make much sense, does it?
wow, wow. Because I'm like Suzanne, and we have a lot in common, Suzanne. The helplessness when I think things aren't going well for my daughter and her family because of my beliefs, I feel very helpless,
Mm,
and it's a
yeah.
deep pain.
And
It's
that's
terrifying.
because you've got a belief that you could do something about it.
Yeah,
And then you
I should.
go, but I can't, and I should, but I can't. And so, of course, by the time you finish whipping yourself with that one,
Yeah,
you're a mess.
yeah,
Yeah. Now here's
yeah.
an interesting one. The biggest effect you can have on your grandkids is by example, not by what you say. They won't listen to what you say. I mean, if they're
Yes.
really young, they'll listen. But when they get to whatever age they turn into animals, they're not going to listen to what you say. You're just an old, stupid old person.
Yes. Yeah, there's 4, 6, and almost 2. So they really are different
Oh,
around me than their mother. They're much more
yeah, yeah,
calm. I'm calmer than her. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
100%
Well,
agree
they're
with
still
that.
at an age where they'll listen, but yeah, but you've got to put things
You
in a
know,
way they can understand. Yeah.
yes,
But
yes, yes,
example, right? They'll
yes,
they'll learn more from watching you than from what you
yes,
say. Yeah.
100%. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
And there's an interesting one. I mean, my now 28-year-old grandson, when he was quite young, I could see that he was having trouble, and me as a newly awakened person, I knew stuff that I could help him with, and I
Mm,
tried to help him, and he did not hear a single word I said, and he went through about 10 years of misery. He was suffering big time. And then he came out the other end of it, and he's now a lovely person. So,
yes.
none of it had anything to do with me. It was all just his life, his circumstances, and it worked out however it's going to work out for him.
Yes.
Yeah. And we
That
can't
accept.
really, yeah.
Well, that's so true. It's so much easier just to accept it and know that that's just the way their life is unfolding, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Absolutely,
It's
yeah.
accepting and scary at the same time,
Yeah.
both feeling. Yeah.
And when they're at our age, my age is a lot older than your age, but when they get old, we've got no idea what the world will be like. We can't even imagine what the world will be like.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a great show on our Australian on the ABC. Lorraine will know the ABC, um, and it's a podcast thing that this bloke does, and he's gone back to the 1950s and 60s where the ABC had a project where they got people to write down what they thought the future was going to be like, and he's bringing these things out, and that none of them are even close to the way things really are now.
Nostradamus, yeah.
Their predictions were way off. Yeah. The world was going to be overpopulated and there wasn't going to be enough food for everybody and all sorts of problems were going to exist, you know. None of it happened like that. Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah, so
comforting to
we,
know our worries don't come true.
yeah.
Usually, I think.
There's something that came to mind. Um, I don't think that we're talking about this right now, but I just wanted to draw um, the distinction between um, am I feeling this urge to try to fix something that is only a problem in my head? Like, am I worried about the future? Like, I think is what kind of what we're getting into. Um, and I'm responding to this story in my head that's not actually present now. Like the problem doesn't exist. I'm worried that it's going to exist in the future, and so I'm going to try to do something now to prevent this thing that hasn't actually happened yet. Versus somebody looking for help or being in need, and the problem is
Now, yeah.
exists right now. Because I think at least the maybe the belief or the story that I tell myself is that um, those are very different things to
Yes,
respond
yes.
to.
And we frequently conflate them. You know, we take the story in our head about something that is we imagine might happen and we respond to it as if it were actually happening now. We do often conflate those things, and recognizing the distinction between them is a huge relief sometimes. Yeah, yeah. So when I get old, is one that people do a lot of worrying about. How is it going to be? How am I going to be?
I think that I guess I'll share the reason why um, I think this is coming up in my head is that um, I live in Minneapolis. For anybody who
Okay.
hadn't heard that and heard that
Yeah,
before,
we've been
um,
hearing that in the news lately. Yeah.
and so there's a ton of um, talk and um, social media. Like what's on everybody's mind is both like what's happening right now and oh my gosh, how does this how does this end? Like where is this going? What
Yeah.
is
Is it the
um,
beginning of civil war in America?
yeah, like it's like
Yeah.
and so there are a lot of thoughts that arise related to worry about the future, what's going to happen, um, and what problems that might lead to. There are also like real problems where like people are um, people are afraid to leave their homes.
Mm,
People need food. people are scared. And so it's like, there's actions that a community can take that are reasonable to help people who are in need in this current moment. So it's like, what can I do? Well, I can't respond to something that hasn't yet happened yet because we're worried about the future, but there are people who need help in the moment. I guess actually I'm thinking also about Suzanne, when you were talking earlier about, like being an infant and crying. It's one thing for like a caregiver. It's two completely different things for a caregiver to say, like, oh, I'm worried about their future. There's nothing that I can do. They're on their own to solve their own problems. um, and for that to lead to, well, I'm not going to try to comfort and soothe and hold and love an infant that is in need in this exact moment. And so maybe what I was confused or concerned or wanted to clarify is this distinction between, am I responding to something that is I guess in a sense real right now, or am I responding to something that I'm worried about might happen in the future, and I'm trying to protect this bad thing from happening when there's something right now that is in need. Am I making sense?
Yep.
Or I guess how do you think about this, Vince?
It's an
Maybe I'll
interesting one from the perspective of Suzanne the baby. It's impossible to know what was behind the person not coming to give her comfort when she was crying. Where it could be a multitude of reasons. We don't know. We can't know about that. We can only know from the experience of the baby that wasn't being attended to. But if it were from a perspective of me, recognizing that, right? So if it, like I'm imagining the situation in Minneapolis with the ICE agents running around grabbing everybody, including 5-year-old kids and so on. There's a whole lot of people out there protesting about it. And then there are the people who are too scared to leave their home. Now, we could imagine that the situation is what I imagine might be the situation there is that there's this deliberate provocation going on there that will lead to Trump activating the Insurrection Act so that he doesn't have to have a midterm election when the time comes. Maybe. That's purely my imagination, but I can imagine that that might be the situation. But do I respond to that as if it were actual, or do I recognize that it's just my imagination that says that? And if it's just my imagination, it's there, it exists as my imagination, but it's not appropriate for me to act on it. And because I'm in Australia, it's not even appropriate for me to act on supporting the people who are protesting or offering help to the people that are too scared to leave their home by getting their groceries for them or whatever, I don't know. So it's a tricky one depending on your situation, on the conditions involved, eh? But I recognise my story might or might not be true, and so it can be dismissed or just put in the background and we'll wait and see. And is it relevant whether it's true or not? If it is true, do I pat myself on the back for having a true story, or is it just luck that it's true, or is it not even an issue? Who knows? Because I have lots of wild stories. Most of them are not worth talking about.
I think the reason behind my bringing this up is a worry or a fear that I talk myself out of helping because I tell myself that there's nothing that I can do, and this is just my perception of what's happening, and people need to people have their own problems and they will deal with them. Um, and there feels to be it's like there's a distinction in this case where it's not an imagination or a future. I'm already
Mm, mm.
interrupting myself. Like that there are neighbors
Yeah. So
who
okay.
are
So then what comes to mind here is that is that story that um, there's nothing I can do, or it's not my place to do anything. Is that a way of um, keeping away from the fear of actually doing something and the possible consequences of that? Or is that actual, that you really can't do anything? So if you've got neighbors that are too scared to go out and you're not too scared to go out, maybe it's appropriate for you to help them with their groceries or whatever
It's like
that
COVID.
they're too afraid to do. Yeah.
yeah. That's what well, actually, yeah. What you made me think of is that um, I have been helping. I have been putting myself into situations where others were afraid of what might happen to me, but that hasn't stopped me from helping because the the need for help is real and not
Mm,
imagined. The potential um, the potential risk for something to maybe go wrong is what's less real. Like, well, that hasn't happened, um,
mm,
and like not letting the imaginary potential things that could happen get in the way of helping
yeah.
something real right now. This wasn't the case 2 weeks ago. This has been some more recent developments, and I think I recognize that I on one hand there are certainly problems that I alone have no control over, but there are problems, um, like you said, where well, I guess there's a lot of things that people in the community are doing, like um, patrol or like observing and patrolling at bus stops for schools, just like standing on the corner and being present,
Mm,
because that's something that they can do to help,
yeah.
or
There's
working
lots
at
of
a
things.
food
Yeah.
shelf or delivering meals.
So it can get a bit more tricky too. So we can say fairly easily it's a good thing to help where help is required. But are you responding to the identification about being a fixer? Now, that's not to say it's inappropriate to help if that is the case, but recognizing if that is the case would be valuable to you.
Am I helping because my identity is part of my identity is I'm somebody who helps, who does good,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I'm doing it to meet meet
yeah,
to
yeah,
feel
exactly.
for me
Yeah,
to feel good, or am I doing it
yeah.
uh, because someone is actually in need and
Yeah, and it gets
So
to
that's tricky.
how do you pick the difference? You've got to be radically honest with yourself about that one. And even if you are, would it change your behavior? So this is this huge thing that comes up with being awake, where we are no longer compelled to obey social rules, but we obey them. Well, we appear to obey them anyway because it's appropriate, but not because we're compelled. So it's the same behavior, but comes from a different place. Do you follow that? It's a subtle difference, but it's a really big difference. I'm pleasant to people because I say good day to people that I pass when I'm walking the dog of a morning, right? And it's not because I have to, it's not because it's the right thing. It's because I feel a genuine good feeling about doing it. Well, not even about doing it, it just happens. And I feel good about it when it happens. Whereas some people walk past and they never meet your eye and they don't look at you and they just go past like you didn't exist. And that's okay, but you wonder about it. But I don't say g'day because it's the right thing to do. So whether you're doing it because you're confirming an identification with how you think you are a helper, or whether there's it sounds a bit funny to say, but whether there's a genuine desire to help that comes from, let's say, compassion or empathy rather than from identification, it probably makes no difference in terms of the behavior, but it makes a big difference in terms of what's behind the behavior, where it comes from.
Yeah. Just the broader thought that's coming up is just the last few weeks here have certainly been an opportunity to examine examine my inner world.
Mm. Yeah, you're in the thick of it for sure.
I can provide an example that just came to me on a lighter level than yours, Jeremy, is when I go for a walk and when I'm in a really happy space and loving life, that hello comes out from smile to smile to anybody who will give me the eye contact. I don't force it, but as soon as I see them, it's like boom, it's so it was automatic, like you said. But then there are days when I'm like, no, I don't even want to look at people. But I will do I'll if they say hi to me, I'll respond and say hi. But I know it's not coming from the same place as it when it comes naturally.
Mm.
I know the difference. I was doing it out of duty, and then there's doing it out of just appreciation for life.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great example. Yeah.
I just realized one aspect of sometimes I just realized part of something that I identify with that has compelled me to act or influenced my actions and decisions. Um, and it's been, well, I had mentioned like delivering food to people who are too afraid to leave their homes. I helped out this past Tuesday night, and I ended up going to, well, there's some potential risks with helping at all and ending up on a list. And now I'm a now I'm a domestic terrorist because I worked at a food bank. Um, and so there's some potential fear for helping out or going into a potentially dangerous, neighborhood, and what might happen to me. And this this story or that sort of identification that I just realized a moment ago is that a couple times over the past year when you could argue I put myself into potentially risky situations to help people in need or to stand up for uh, principles that I believed in was um, my grandfather fought in a war and risked his life to fight for um, things that he believed in. And I would tell myself if he was willing to go to that extent, and I'm afraid to walk down the street with other people, or I'm afraid to drive through a neighborhood to deliver food to somebody who's hungry, and like there's this like, what does that say about me if I can't
Yeah,
do that?
yeah,
Um, and so I knew that I was doing that, and I was uh, finding I don't know finding courage to act in a way, but now I'm realizing that I at least in part acting in a way um, to I guess live up to that identity, that story about if I'm if my grandfather could do X, but I can't even do this, that I tell myself is so so much less risky
mm,
than what does that say? I didn't
yeah,
realize how much there's like identification there.
yeah. What does it mean about me? Get this, there's nothing wrong with those stories turning up, but when you recognize that that's a way of manipulating yourself, it changes. You probably still do it. You do it because it's the right thing. Well, is that the same thing? Is that another version of it? My grandfather did it, is one thing, but it's the right thing to do. That's the same thing, isn't it? Just another version of it. But is it genuinely because you want to? Or is it because the thought appears to do it and you just respond to that thought by doing it? That seems really trivial, but it's probably the most valid reason for doing it.
I think I think there's a part of wanting to, and I just realized
Yeah.
another thing that I'm identifying with. Um, what's constantly coming up in discussions in the media and other things around what's happening in the United States is related to this question of like um, in Germany in the 30s, like why didn't anybody do anything? um, and so I think of I'm afraid of being a person who did nothing, who just
Mm.
stood by and
Yeah.
watched and let it happen. And that's driving that story of like what imagining what my kids or my grandkids might think of
Yeah.
me if I wasn't the type of person to stand up versus just wanting to help because it's
Mm.
help out of compassion right now versus the story of what it means if I don't, or the story of what it means if I do. Like both of them
Yeah, yeah, they're no
are
different,
tied up
really,
in
are they?
stories.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe, yeah. This gets really tricky. This stuff, doesn't it? So the idea about ideology turns up. Yeah, the idea of an outcome as a result of what I do. Am I doing something with a purpose in mind? Which is all Feta 3 stuff, right? Rites and rituals, doing something for a purpose. It's another form of identification. And yet, if we look at the inverse of that, we say, would I ever do something without a purpose? Or is any happening, any doing of any kind have to have a purpose? Is it implied? Is it implicit in that it could be described that way, but that doesn't mean that it's the primary motivation. So I walk into the garage where I've got a fridge with my lightly sparkling water that I like to drink in this stuff that I drink all the time, every day. I drink that. I walk into the garage and I see the fridge and the thought occurs, oh, have a drink, Vince. So I open the fridge and I have a drink. Now you could describe that as I'm opening the door of the fridge with the purpose of getting the drink. But I'm not opening a door with the motivation of purpose is not what opens the door. The door just opens. It can only be described as having the purpose of. Where did the thought to have a drink come from? Oh, because I saw the fridge. Why did I even see the fridge? Why didn't I just walk past it? Because I do sometimes and don't even notice it. Uh, Maybe I saw the fridge because I had a sensation that we could call thirst. Nothing is so clean cut that we can say this is what it is and this is where it comes from and so on. Yeah. But we can see when we can describe it in a way that relates to me as a person. If that's our prime motivation, well, that's what happens. But recognizing it gives it the opportunity to change.
This has shown a light on the question of like would I do what I've been doing if 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 no one other than the person whom I'm helping would know.
Mm. Or even if they didn't know, if you
Right. Yep.
just put stuff on their veranda and they never knew who did it,
Right.
would you still do it? Yeah.
I think sometimes another hidden little identification is all the ones where it comes up with, I should do this, you know, or I have to do this. It's sometimes that can be a sneaky identification in there.
Mm. Definitely. Yeah, it's pretty easy to see when you go, I should. And, or even if you describe yourself as, I'm the kind of person that does this, it's still identification. And these things change too. They fluctuate and change, So if the situation in Minneapolis wasn't what it is with what's going on with all the ICE agents doing whatever their thing is and people weren't scared to go out, would the desire to help somebody still be there or be as strong?
Oh, well,
Circumstances will change things. Yeah.
yeah, I can say this from my experience. I've never volunteered to do, like food deliveries, and I know that that's a thing that has existed for years.
Mm.
Uh, Here in the, I don't know if this is an international organization, but they call it Meals on Wheels
Yeah, yeah,
for
we've got
people
it
who.
too. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Mm.
I've never helped with that. um, but something different about now is
Mm. And you never know
it,
that maybe that even when this crisis is over, that you'll continue to do that because you've discovered it as a result of the crisis. How good is that? Great that that crisis was there. Now you discovered that you enjoy helping people or whatever. Yeah, we have to
think
reduce things to a simplistic level to talk about them, don't we? But the reality is things are so incredibly complex all the time. Yeah. Mm.
thank you for entertaining the subject. I just noticed that it's already quarter after midnight your time, so
Yeah, yeah, they're
we
20
can wrap
past
this up if
almost.
you want
Yeah,
to.
yeah. I will, I think. Yeah. Time to go to bed. Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you, Vince. Good night.
Okay.
Bye.
Night night.